It's the Funny Comics Fan Club.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
No, I can't hear you. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Hello. Yeah.
Is this a pantomime version of the podcast now?
Oh no, it isn't. There you go.
Because it's the beginning of season 3.
It is the beginning of season. How exciting!
Yeah.
Have you been doing anything exciting in the massive gap between series, John?
No.
Good. Well, let's go on with the show, then. So,
Yeah, that's a massive relief to all the listeners. They thought I was going to go on for half an hour then.
flipping heck, imagine that.
That's what all these other podcasts
That's
do.
what these other podcasts do. All this mucking around before they actually get started.
We're not like other podcasts.
We're not like other podcasts.
We're not like everybody else.
No, we're different. That's why.
And guess what we're looking at today?
Are you asking me all then?
Well, you know.
Oh, I know, yeah.
They don't.
Let's see if they can guess.
Yeah. Any ideas? We're looking at all your favourite characters from Cracker comic. This was given to me by a friend of mine called Russell Thompson, who listens in, and yeah, I'd never heard of it.
I'd never heard of it. I have no memory of it all. But I suppose because it only ran for 1 year, from 1975 to 1976.
Although it was amalgamated into the Beezer.
That's loads of things seem to be amalgamated. But this is but it's just before the time when you and I would have probably been buying our own comics.
I mean, I would have been 5 years old, so
yeah,
I was reading Play Hour or whatever it was.
I was reading the Financial Times this time.
It starts off on the cover. It's quite a nice, colourful cover, and you've got this character, and it's called Wonder Wellies, all about this chap who's got incredible Wellington boots that they've got a helicopter in them, and they've got like a telephone in them. They've got all these gadgets in these Wellington boots. But unfortunately, it's fallen out of the comic.
Yeah, so we haven't got that bit, have we?
So I'm afraid there'll be no information. Although I did have a quick look on the internet.
Yeah.
And I found out that there are 2 different comic strips called Wonder Wellies.
Right.
One is in Cracker and another one is in Buster, and they're completely different.
Like the Sid Snake story we looked at that time, it was exactly the same. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's another story that I think is exactly the same as another one as well.
There's a few things like that in here.
Well, John, before we go any further, may I offer you my thesis on this particular comic?
I'd rather you didn't.
It's going to happen.
I know you're in line for another PhD.
Here we go. Are you ready for this? I think this reads very much like somebody has secretly tried to do a complete update of the Beano. There's so many strips here that are like something else.
I mean, actually, this cover reminds me of a comic that came later called, Nutty. We did Nutty. This cover looks a bit like a Nutty cover, but they weren't copying that because this was first.
Yeah.
But it just reminded me of it a little bit. The great big logo and then sort of a big picture on the front of one of the characters doing something.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think I can see where you're going with this.
Yeah. Because shall we look at the first story we're going to look at, which I think is throwing my thing.
Go for it. Yeah.
It's a story called Billy the Kid and Pongo. So it's a story about a boy called Billy who has a small dog. Billy is a bit of a ruffian. He has a thick mop of black hair. And him and his dog go around, what's the word you use? They kind of menace people, don't they? A bit?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, and he's got a dad who comes and punishes him. And it's basically Dennis the Menace, isn't it? It's absolutely 100% Dennis the Menace.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, he looks a bit like that Basher kid from one of the other comics.
From the Dandy, wasn't he, Basher? Yeah.
And that was like Dennis the Menace as well.
Yeah.
But this is just like Billy the Kid and Pongo. You might as well have Dennis the Menace and Gnasher.
Yeah.
If you had Dennis the Menace doing this, it would be exactly the same.
It would be exactly the same, but there'd be one slight difference, I would suggest. That I think this is better than the Dennis the Menace of this period.
Oh, okay.
Because in this story, what happens is you see him, he goes around and causes lots of mess, gets really, really dirty all the time. And because at the start he says, hey, it's Friday. He goes and gets into lots of mess. Then at the end, his dad comes along and grabs him. His dad, who looks just like Dennis's dad, except just slightly longer hair at the back because it is the 1970s, not the 1950s.
Bit like Paul Weller these days.
A bit like Paul Weller these days. That is exactly what he looks like. Except he's still got the Hitler moustache that Dennis's dad has.
Yeah, I think Paul Weller should grow a Hitler moustache.
I definitely think that. Paul, if you're listening,
which I'm sure you are.
Yes, that's for you. And then it turns out that the reason he's done all this because it's Friday, and Friday is bath day. And at the end of it, it's that. And I sort of think, this encapsulates for me the entire comic because it's like the Beano at the time, but better.
Better,
And, yeah,
really?
and you know, we always say on this, don't we, that these comics always look really great, and this does. This is drawn by Gordon Bell, who you've seen loads of times, but actually in this comic, I think most of the stories actually make sense. And this is like this is the payoff. He was getting to all this muck because it's Bath Day, which in the Dennis stories at the time, basically the punchline would be his dad's going to hit him or he's going to hit somebody else, and he's horrible. Whereas this, I just wonder if this is like somebody's going, yeah, we're going to do the Beano, but better and for the modern up-to-date 70s.
But I mean, this only lasted a year. I mean, I don't know whether Billy the Kid was amalgamated into, anything else. I doubt it.
I can confirm he was amalgamated into the Beezer.
So he carried on.
Yeah,
God.
yeah.
I mean, that's what's interesting to me is like some of these things just carry on regardless. But you think this was good, even though it's exactly the same as another character. You're happy with it.
It's exactly the same as Dennis and Mace, except it's slightly better. Because I mean, again, it's things like he's wearing long trousers, so it's not. We've been into the trouser length debate at some.
Yeah, we've been over time and time again.
Yeah, also most of the kids in this have long trousers, and a lot of them have turnips on the trousers as well, which I think is a fashion style that should be brought back.
So this was more up to date in 1975 than Dennis the Menace.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
All that Beano stuff was in the 50s, wasn't it? And so if you look at, I was going to say Dennis's dad. Sorry, Billy's dad here. He's exactly the same as Dennis's dad, except he's not wearing a jacket and he's got quite long hair at the back. So there you go.
Yeah, I can't really see the point of having a character that's exactly the same as another character.
This is it. I'm sure this isn't what happened, but it feels like somebody's gone, let's just do the Beano and improve it.
But not everything is an improvement.
Very well.
Because the bloke that ties this comic together and is in it all the time,
my Lord,
every single week, is this kid called Sammy.
Sammy, yeah.
He's just like a completely charmless, unlikable nerk who's just sort of like looks really creepy and he's just like he's there.
Yeah,
he doesn't do very much except have sort of ghastly expressions on his face.
No, I will disagree with you there. He does do
things.
He does not have ghastly expressions on his face. He has a ghastly expression. Yeah. It's exactly the same picture. Very occasionally it's drawn by a different artist slightly differently, but it's exactly the same picture and exactly the same expression. And it's like, what? Why? What's the point of? And they don't even tell you his name until 2/3 of the way through. It's like Sammy's page or something. It's like, he's horrible. What's the point of this?
Yeah, Sammy is no Dennis the Menace.
No.
Sammy is no Shiner or whatever.
No.
He doesn't seem to have any personality. He's just there
and a bit nasty.
Yeah, he's just blank and he looks like a bit of a terror, but you don't know if he's or not because he doesn't really do very much. It's
like this one strip called Curly's Commandos later on, but he just pops up there and goes, "What do you think of this then, readers? Rubbish." It's like, well, that's not very nice, is it, Sammy?
No, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I was quite enjoying that Curly's Commandos story. I thought it was quite a nice little piece. And then he pokes his nose in and calls it rubbish. I mean, I'm sure the original artist of Curly's Commandos didn't want him sort of shoving his nose in there.
But he's in all the way through, isn't it? It's like, and I think the weird thing about this comic is the stories themselves are really good, I think. But sort of the layout, the editorial side of it, the layout is a bit crappy, isn't it? Because we'll put this on the socials, obviously, but the second page on it, it's nearly blank.
Yeah, there is. Yeah,
and
there's huge blank space.
There's quite a lot of this where it's like they've gone, we couldn't bother putting anything in the bottom of this page. So
it's not packed with fun, is it? Like Cheeky Weekly or something where you literally couldn't move for lots of things happening.
They've had to squeeze stuff in between the panels
because they had so many ideas to get in. This doesn't really, it's not really like that at all. But, there's some odd things, like, I'm not going to talk about it very much, but there's one thing called Young Fu, Kung Fu Kid, which is extremely un-PC these days. But
it's extremely racist, I think is what it's like.
I was trying to be kind. Racist. I was trying to be kind in case any of the artists from 1975 are listening. There's one bit where they take, Young Fu goes to the barbers. And the name of the barber is Daniel Druff. Okay, not Dandruff.
No.
Daniel Druff. The joke is Dandruff. Why have they extended the name for no reason, just to make it more complicated to the readers or something?
That's too intense and mature.
I mean, what, are you going to have another name, Matt Vinyl? That's quite a funny name, isn't it? What are you going to do next, call him Matthew? It ruins the joke.
I think that improves the joke.
That annoyed me.
You're going, Daniel Druff? Oh, I see, Dandruff. Very amusing, yes.
No, that completely ruined that bit.
Okie dokie.
But we now come to reader interaction time.
Some interesting reader interaction here, isn't there?
This is called Ghastly Geezer Gallery.
Yes.
And the readers have to send in pictures of monsters or just people that look really weird, that they've drawn. And Russell, my friend who gave me this comic, said that he used to cut these out and stick them in his school desk.
Okay.
So they obviously had an appeal to kids back in the day.
But one of them, let's be clear about this, the main monster here is a Nazi, isn't he? He's actually dressed in Nazi regalia and is giving a Nazi salute. And it's like, well...
He looks evil. He
does look evil, but he's like, well, yeah, okay, it's the 70s.
It's the 70s. Nazis are everywhere. And unfortunately, though, you've got Sammy, once again, sticking his nose in.
In exactly the same picture again, with exactly the same expression. Yeah?
He's not Desperate Dan, is he? He's not a character that lasted, as far as I know, outside this comic, and that was a year.
Well, actually, funnily enough, the strip that you want to talk about, which is Just a Minute, which features Sammy, that did go on into the Beezer.
Do you know? Did Sammy go with it, or was
I don't know if Sammy went with it.
I'm not sure. He may have been given his P45 at that notice. I'm not sure. But then we've got a strip called Scrapper, like just briefly. And it's just like, well, this is a bit like Shiner or something, you'd think. But Scrapper looks like he would sort of blow over in a gust of wind.
Well, it's odd, isn't it? Because the logo is Scrapper, and there's a picture of like that the traditional somebody's having a fight.
Yeah, so you think, all right, there's going to be larks galore here and bashings in and thuds and whacks.
But then he starts fishing scrap metal.
He starts fishing for scrap metal?
Yeah.
Is that like a pun on Scrapper?
I mean, alas, the fact that we're not reading this podcast is not based entirely on Cracker means we're only dipping into one issue, so we can't find any more out about him, can we?
But it's very, very old-fashioned looking, isn't it?
It is, but you'll note that Scrapper himself has long trousers and he's got turn-ups on his jeans. And that, for me, that's modern comics of the 70s. Have they got turn-ups on their jeans? If so, then it's modern.
Yeah, I mean, it does look... I mean, there's no fights going on whatsoever, and I can't imagine him getting into one, but I presume he must have done at some point.
I assume he must have done at some point.
Now we come to Just a Minute. The idea of this feature is that it looks like you draw a picture or a cartoon, you send a cartoon in, and it's a joke. And it's a bit like a sort of pastiche of Opportunity Knocks, which I guess would have been on TV at the time.
Yeah.
Which was a talent show. And they had this thing called the clapometer in Opportunity Knocks. So you had the acts would come on, and then the audience would clap, and then however much applause they got would sort of determine how high a score you got on the clapometer. So they've got this jokeometer thing here at the bottom. It's hosted by your friend of mine, Sammy, who seems to have a fez on, so he's trying to be like Tommy Cooper here.
It really brings home the fact that this is the same illustration, because the same illustration of Sammy is used 5 times across the whole page, so you can really see, it's just the same picture again and again.
It's strange why they did that. I mean, were they cutting corners here? I don't know.
It seems weird, and then they've glued a fez onto him.
Yeah. But then there's a terrible error on this page, so maybe put this on the socials if you can, because... So it's all these different jokes, and then the winner is the one that gets the highest score, right? So the first reader, Nicholas Hutchins from Southampton, he gets 113. The next one, he gets 115. The third one, 120, and the fourth one, 125. But the winner is Nicholas Hutchins with 113.
No. He gets 100. He gets much more than that. Look.
No, he's put 113 down here. Nicholas scored 113.
But he said, well, the dog's wrong. Sorry, you should say, readers, the dog is... Yeah, well, what's happened here, Dark John, is that the dog is reading out the scores, and clearly dogs can't read.
That's something they should have realised.
That's where they're going wrong. Because if you look on it, you'll see there is a joke here, and it scores on the... If you look at the clapometer, it's scoring approximately 135.
Yeah.
But which is the winner.
The dog gets it completely wrong.
Blooming idiot dog.
I mean, just never employ your own dog to do the clapometer.
I would go further. Never employ any dog or other canine beast.
Or any animals.
Well, let's not go quite that far. You never know.
Maybe
might be able to do it.
Yeah, maybe an amoeba might be okay, this sort of thing, but... You see what I mean? But some of the jokes are quite funny. Like,
jokes are good.
I've seen this joke before, but it says pie eating contest today, and then there's a door where you go in, which is a very thin door, and a door you come out, which is extremely wide. I've seen this joke before, I think possibly in Beano comic, but it's still sort of pretty fun.
It's a good joke. Yeah, it's good. I mean, again, we keep saying this went on into the. Did the Beezer not have many strips at the time? Because most of these strips seem to have carried on into the Beezer for some reason. It was like a hostile takeover.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's a good idea, I think.
Not a bad idea. Just a minute.
It's not dissimilar to your. I know you hate to dwell on the fact that you're an amazing award winner for your story in Crazy Comic, but it's the same idea, isn't it? When you send in a joke of your own.
Oh yeah, very similar. But at least some people have done it, and I quite enjoyed that. And then now you wanted to look at Jimmy Jest, whose shadow, I believe, is a pest.
Yes,
that's what I've heard. Anyway.
Yes, his shadow is a bit. Well, it's the first episode of Jimmy Jest. His shadow's a pest. But the funny thing is, it's like basically, well, this is exactly the same as Me and My Shadow, as drawn by your friend of mine, Terry Bave, in Wizard and Chips. It's the same idea. There's a lad, and he has a shadow that is alive. It's the same thing. Me and My Shadow came before this. I can only imagine Terry Bave was out one day, and he said, "Oh, I've got a shadow. I'll make a comic about that." For as we know, that was how he made comics. But I thought this was quite interesting because for one thing, the lead character is a right spotty little twerp, isn't he? He does not look like a normal lead character in a comic.
No, that's right.
And what we get is this is the secret origin of him and how this happens. So the basic idea is this is a lad whose shadow is alive and gets him into trouble, same as Me and My Shadow. But what happens is one day this lad, Jimmy Jest, he's walking along, he's got a water pistol and he squirts a dog, runs out of water. Then he finds a jug of water, so he thinks, cooling on the ledge of a window at the local laboratory.
We've all been there.
But normally it's a pie, isn't it? You don't normally leave a pie to cool on the window on the street so somebody can apprehend it. They've just left the liquid there and he's filled that up and he goes, "Ha-ha, take that shadow," he says, squirting his shadow, and that brings his shadow to life.
I wouldn't have done that. I personally wouldn't have squirted my own shadow. I would have probably squirted a dog, yes.
Yes.
My own shadow, I don't think so.
You wouldn't have thought so, would you?
No.
It doesn't seem logical.
It's interesting to me that his parents named him James, I presume.
One would assume so, yeah.
And, didn't they think of the alliteration problems that might occur later on?
Maybe they were hoping he'd become a superhero.
Who knows?
That was how it would go.
But this story, I don't know. I mean, at least it's got a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Well, I say they all have. I think this is the thing they all have in this comic. They all sort of work.
It's got it's got the classic, the Commonwealth Garden parky. It's got a parky. A lot of these strips have parkies in, or catapults, or custard pies. A lot of the classic tropes. But this parky's name is Narky.
Yeah.
What's that short for then?
Narkinson.
I should have realised that. I couldn't think of a single name that could have been referring to.
Maybe it's a nickname, and the children call him Narky the Parky because he's a little bit narky.
I accept that. I accept that.
That could be. I don't know. I've not. Again, we've come to the problem that we have with this.
Yeah.
This is not a longitudinal study of Cracker comic.
No,
we only have a cross section. Analyse.
But I think that's probably the most time anybody has ever spoken about Jimmy Jest, his shadow's a pest.
Although I would say the other thing about this is the poor quality scientific research methodologies, the lack of ethical processes here. This is not the only time in this comic we will see this going on. I think it explains why now in the modern day we need to have a full ethical approval and processes for our scientific research. I will say no more until we've reached the appropriate moment. Oh, which I think is next.
Is it?
I think it's next.
Let's have a look. Okay, so this thing,
Joe
Soap. Right. So I had a quick look on the internet, and it says here, Joe Soap was a British comic strip that was drawn by John Dallas and ran in Cracker and later Beezer, in total running from 1975 to 1989. This flimsy premise somehow ran for 14 years.
Yeah.
It's like that Mighty Moth in TV comic that ran for about 100 years.
That's slagging off Mighty Moth. Mighty Moth.
I know you.
I thought that was brilliant.
I know you're a big fan and you immediately joined the Mighty Moth fan club. But I'm not going to join the Joe Soap fan club. I'm sorry. Call me old-fashioned. I'm not going to.
You're old-fashioned.
Thank you. But what I found interesting about Joe Soap was that there's all this clunky exposition all over the place.
There's a lot of clunky exposition, isn't there? Yeah.
Just badly written exposition everywhere. Like, it starts off, Joe Soap. His real name was Joe Brown, but the folk in little Sudsbury knew him as Joe Soap. He was always blowing bubbles, you see. Big bubbles, small bubbles, but always extra special bubbles. What am I, 7 years old here? For Joe's bubbles were from mixtures invented by his grandpa. And Grandpa Brown was a real crackpot inventor. There you go. There's the clunkily written exposition. Now we know what's going on.
I think Crackpot is being kind to him, isn't it? Dangerously irresponsible inventor. Because basically what he does is he invents different bubbles every time. And how do they test these bubbles? They don't know what the bubbles are going to do. So I'm just going to blow them on people, see what happens.
Yeah, and he does this for the next 14 years.
Yeah, and his grandpa's going like, now my latest bubble mix is a winner, Joe. I'm sure it's harmless. It's like, you don't need to invent harmless bubbles. Harmless bubbles already exist. They're called bubbles.
Yeah. Don't invent ones that might be dangerous and then test them on whoever's hanging about.
Exactly.
That's what he does here. Yeah. He should be taken away.
He should be taken away.
But it says here, Joe Soap blows these new bubbles at people and they end up, all these adults, and they end up acting like kids.
Yeah.
Which is something we've seen before, but it's quite a nice idea. I liked. And then rain comes down, and so this sorts out the problem. It washes all this bubble stuff away, so they go back to normal.
Yeah.
Then Grandpa turns up. He says, "Here's the antidote." "Too late, Grandpa," says Joe. "We won't need it. The rain's done the job for us." Then it turns out they should have been at a community centre children's party to help out. So along they go. Straight away, Grandpa gets hit in the face with the custard pie. Now, if you're holding a children's party, supplying custard pies is probably not a good idea. It's going to lead to mayhem.
That's good advice. That's really good advice.
anyone putting on a party, just forget about the custard pies, will you? Otherwise, there'll be hell to pay. Like it's happened here, you see. It's like a riot. Everyone's behaving extremely badly, throwing pies around. And then it says here, Grandpa had a sudden idea. Oh, no.
Oh, dear, no.
He blew his antidote bubbles at the mob. This is the mob of kids at the party. And then it says here, there's this exposition at the top of this panel at the end. The antidote had been mixed to cure the people who were behaving like kids, and it had the effect of making the kids behave like grown-ups. Oh, that took an enormous amount of effort to read that.
Yeah.
I can only feel relief now that I've finished that sentence. It's so clunkily written.
Yeah.
And then, so all the kids are behaving like adults, which is a pretty funny idea, and we like that. And then some more explanation at the end from this evil grandpa, really. He says, "I must say I do surprise myself, Big-Headed." He says, "The party will be over by the time the effects wear off. Thank you for the explanation."
Thank you, Grandpa. And also, but most of them are going, well, Grandpa, once again, what's happened is you've caused chaos and mayhem on innocent people with your untested chemicals, and then your solution to this is to make another untested chemical, and then to test it on children.
I think it was his laboratory in the page before.
I think you've done it. I think that's it, isn't it? Because that's it. Because if you turn over the page, there's Jimmy Jess. He's leaning to laboratory. Then we turn over and we are in Grandpa's garden. I think you've hit the nail upon the head there.
It's thematically more complicated than we'd first assumed.
It's the Cracker cinematic universe. That's the only way to understand what's going on. This intertextuality.
Thank you, PhD Mike.
That's my pleasure. I thought we'd enjoy that.
Anyway, Joe Soap then continued for the next 14 years.
14 years with more danger and horror.
Then we had Curly's Commandos, which was quite a nice idea. I thought, these little commandos, these little kids as commandos, and you can sort of tell what the characters are like from their names. For example, Hamish. Where do you think he's from? It's difficult, isn't it? Titch. What do you think's unusual about him? And of course, Podge.
Now,
any ideas?
Well, the thing with Podge is he is wearing a German infantry helmet from the First World War. So once again, you sort of, because Sammy, you think like, he does look a bit like a National Front kid, does he? Is there something dark undertow in this entire comic going on? Well, it's...
I don't know, but I really liked this story. I thought it worked really well. But unfortunately, Sammy again appears at the end and just declaims the whole thing is rubbish. So again,
because he works. I mean, the only thing I would say about this one is that
there's a parky in it again.
There's a parky in it again, and one of the children attacks him with an actual rifle with an actual bayonet attached to the end.
Yeah,
which is, I mean, it was the 70s. It was a different time.
Those things happened back then.
But again, this whole story gets to a really quite satisfactory conclusion.
Yeah,
oh, that's really good. And then the editor has gone like, oh, I'm going to stick another photocopy of Sammy on the top.
Yeah, we don't need it.
No, we don't need it.
We don't want it. That's what
we don't want it or need it.
I wish it just never existed. That would have been a better
comic
comic had it not even been there in any shape.
Maybe that's why it only lasted a year, because kids go, well, this is like the Beano but better, except this horrible nasty kids in it.
Yeah. And in fact, here he is yet again with his own special feature, Sammy's Reports. And I believe you wanted to investigate.
I think this really brings together all the the difficulty with this, because like Sammy's awful.
Sammy is awful. Got no personality whatsoever. He's just there with
He's
his
just
funny
mad.
GI haircut.
But then the actual comic, it's actually, this is really nicely drawn, I think, this one. There's a picture here of a teacher glaring at a child, and there's such menace and malevolence, but also fun. It just looks, it was, I think when I was first reading the comic, it was at this point when I went, I actually really like this comic. I actually think this is a really good one. You know, it's like, it's one of those, what was the other one that we read that was surprising? Oh, Hoot, wasn't it? When we read Hoot.
Hooch was good, yeah.
And that was really surprising. I think this is quite a sign of the same. So,
But I like the material here. You know,
Yeah.
Sammy's putting me off straight away.
Yeah.
But if you can look beyond that, then it's a good bit of material.
Yeah.
Because it's a report all about sweets, and there are lots of problems involved that he's pointing out. You can, your parents can tell when you've been eating sweets before dinner because you've got the sticky papers all over your hands, or you can't reply to a teacher because you're eating toffees, or you're trying to eat gobstoppers and they're far too hot. And at the end, he's come up with some sort of unusual inventions to help you deal with the problems of sweets.
Yes.
Which is funny, I thought.
Okay.
Did you like it?
I didn't think it was the strongest idea in the whole.
Like, for example, you can. He gives you. There's a fire extinguisher in this picture for hot peppermints. You've got heavy-duty overalls in case of stains. You've got false teeth for testing toffees. What I thought was the weirdest one was the picture of sherbet, where he says, "We all, of course, know what happens to sherbet when rain gets into the packet." And then there's a picture of somebody with this enormous sherbet cloud that has been created by the rainfall.
It's an effervescence, isn't it, of sherbet, I think, yeah.
I mean, is this what happens when you leave sherbet in the rain?
Well, I would query, have you ever been found out for eating sweets because you were covered in sticky wrappers? I mean, it's not that there's a sticky wrapper been placed in the bin. Obviously, that will give the game away. But you go, oh, I haven't been eating sweets. You've got lots of sweets stuck to you. Your whole body is covered in sticky.
I wasn't asking that, Mark. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Call me old-fashioned.
You're old-fashioned.
Have you ever seen sherbet explode like this when rain has fallen upon it?
No, because I always wear a wide-brimmed hat when eating sherbet.
Well, I'm going to bring some sherbet in next
Oh,
time.
please, yeah.
And we're going to wait for it to rain.
Yeah, that sounds
And
good.
then let's see what happens with our own experiments inspired by Grandpa.
I think this is a brand new, this is a new destination. Here in Series 3, science all the way. That's what we're doing. Experiments.
Experimenting with not only sherbet, also rainfall and precipitation.
Yes, and dangerous chemicals.
Let's hope so.
Yes.
So moving on from Sammy's surprisingly good report, we quite enjoyed that page.
Yeah.
Now we come to this thing called The Nutters,
Raid, done by our old friend John Gearing.
who later did Banana Man. I was going to say Bananarama. I don't think he did. Well, I don't think he
Who
made them.
knows?
He may have done.
He may have done, we don't know.
They look like a cartoon in a lot of ways, but the Nutters refer to a cartoon family of squirrels. I quite like the name the Nutters. I like that.
That's good.
But the thing is, the squirrels look quite terrifying in a way to me.
They do, yeah.
They look like nightmare squirrels. If you were attacked by them, you'd
You'd know it,
know
yes,
it.
you would, yeah. Although I think you'd know it if you were attacked by a normal squirrel, to be fair.
I think you would.
I think you'd be aware, wouldn't you? Yes.
You would know what was going on. They seem to be constantly annoying this poor old bloke who's growing tomatoes, and they're living in his garden.
In a sort of birdhouse, which he appears to have built for them. As far as I'm
Yeah, I mean, why doesn't he just get rid of the birdhouse?
concerned. Exactly, yeah.
They're living there.
Yeah.
I mean, I may write in. I don't know.
I think you should.
But this is a little bit like something like Roadrunner to me, because all he's trying to do is get rid of these squirrels, and the way he does it is by coming up with these incredibly massive contraptions to try and get rid of them.
Yeah.
When in fact he could have just done something a lot easier by just getting rid of the birdhouse. But so he's trying to work out how to get rid of the squirrels this week. So he starts reading a book, and he's drinking from this cup that seems to have a plaster over what I can only assume is a crack.
I would hope. Yeah.
So he's in dire straits in the reduced circumstances. We can gather from that cup.
That's true. We can. That's a keen analysis. What you've done there.
Let's put that on the social media and see what happens. But then he's read this book. Then he starts building something, and before you know it, he's made an enormous catapult, and he's firing boulders at the birdhouse in which the squirrels are living
From about 6 feet away.
That's what he's doing.
Yeah, that's what he's doing.
And then he sits on the boulder, and what do you know? He gets fired out of the catapult himself, and the squirrels end up getting all the tomatoes. I thought it was okay. Not a bad little story.
I really like. I think it's because it's John Gearing, so he did Puss in Boots as well. So it is very similar to that. This madcap violence that's going on there, and I just love the fact that the panel layout is quite inventive. It's not just rows of panels. It ends with a massive half-page image of the squirrels leaping on these tomatoes. I just think it looks fantastic. I think it's gorgeous.
And I love anything with a catapult in it. Anything with a giant catapult in it. For some reason, I just always really liked. To me, I do remember. Roadrunner had a lot of giant catapults in it.
Yeah.
That's stuck in my brain.
So, listeners, if anybody wants to get John a birthday present at any point, giant catapults would be your go-to.
I would love that. Absolutely
love
it.
Yeah.
And then, actually, there's quite an exciting action strip near the end called Iron Hand. I was quite excited by this.
Yes.
I was on the edge of my seat.
Were you
reading this? Yeah.
I mean, it's quite racist again, isn't it?
Is it?
It is.
I suppose it is
racist.
Yeah.
It's all the racism that's going on here.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
How you put it like that.
And the baddies are quite. There's a thing where he's climbing up a cliff and he goes, "Hang on a minute, there's somebody with a spear hiding at the top because they've got the spear dangling over the edge so he can see it." It's like not very bright baddies there, I don't think.
But Iron Hand is quite a cool hero. He's got this iron hand, you see.
Yes.
Hence the title of the piece. And it can fire this almost invisible ray. Not entirely invisible, that'd be too difficult, but almost invisible ray. And it does things like chops tree that's down and branches down.
Yeah.
I thought it was quite a fast-moving couple of pages.
Yeah.
And, I am wondering what's going to happen next week because there's a bomb attached to his Jeep.
Oh, is there? It?
So
it's a lovely. Well, it's a Land Rover, isn't it? It's a lovely draw. I mean, it looks really nice. It's drawn really, really nicely.
I think so. I think if this is a reprint or something, it doesn't really quite
fit
in with the rest of the thing. But who knows?
But it's exactly the same as the Steel Claw and Sergeant Steel and various other stories where a secret agent, except apparently you never ever find out this guy's name.
Don't you?
No, because even his boss, when he has to report into whatever, it's not MI5 or it's QI7 or whatever he reports into, and they go, "Come in, Iron Hand," and it's like going, that's a bit insensitive, isn't it?
Iron Hand, let's face it, he's not quite as good as Iron Man.
No.
He's only got the one bit of iron.
One bit of iron.
So maybe, again, reduced circumstances. There's a thematic.
I suppose DC Thompson didn't have the same budget as Marvel.
So they couldn't draw someone that was totally made of iron.
So we'd love to draw that sort of thing, but
sadly, the budgetary restraints meant that he only had an iron hand. But, he did well for all that.
He did well for all that, yes. He's an example to us all.
So, unfortunately, we can't talk about Wonder Wellies because it fell out.
Because it fell out,
yeah.
But
I can only imagine how good that was.
Let's imagine.
Well,
good, isn't it? Yeah, amazing.
Actually, I did look at another Wonder Wellies and it wasn't that good. It was about, he was trying to find Billy Connolly's Lost Wellingtons.
Yes, I read that one. I think that's the
one that still remains.
That's the one that's been
after several years of searching.
Oh, and we haven't said, by the way, it's cost £6. I think we should say that for those keeping track.
Yeah. I'm just making note of that myself.
So, what did you think overall, John? What was your thinking on this comic?
I mean, Russell, who gave me this, he really liked it. He used to order it all the time. He cut things out of it, stuck them on his desk, and was clearly quite enamoured with the whole thing. But I wasn't. No, I thought some of it was fun. But I don't know. I'm not sure whether I'd be interested in reading another issue of it. It's okay.
I'm glad you said that, because usually I'm the grumpy one, and now I'm going to be the one who's positive.
Good.
I thought it was really good.
Oh, very good.
I thought it was very similar to Who. It was like going what if DC Thompson actually tried? And they've got great people. They say your Gordon Bells, your John Gearings, these sort of people who are great. And it's let down. I think it is like, to me, I think I return to my original thesis, which I think we've backed up here. It's like somebody's trying to do a new version of the Beano and do things better and for the 70s, not for the 50s. I only think it's let down by the stories are great. The stories are unusually well written, I think. Bit racist sometimes, but unusually well written otherwise. It looks great. It's just the editorial seems to be can't be bothered. And it's like the whole photocopying the same character and again and again and again. Just says, I think that would be my feeling on it. I think it was a comic that could have been really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I was being a bit harsh on it there. It was nice, it was good, it was entertaining, but I wouldn't say incredibly memorable. I don't think anything makes it stand out. But it was nice to read it, and I enjoyed it in some ways.
I really enjoyed it in all sorts of ways.
There you go.
There we go. So that's
Good old cracker.
Good old cracker. What a cracker that was.
It's a cracker.
We've avoided that for nearly 40 minutes. Well done.
Apparently, they gave T-shirts away that said "I'm a cracker." I don't know. That would have confused a stupid person, but yeah, we enjoyed it.
We did enjoy it. We did. So all that remains then is to pass on to next week's comic.
What are we looking at this week?
Well, this next week.
I know what we're looking at this week.
Yeah, we've just been looking at it, haven't we?
Yeah.
So next time, well, I think we've looked at a largely forgotten comic from within our lifetimes. I think next time we're going to look at a comic that a lot of people remember really fondly that came up before you and I were even born. Next time we're going to be looking at an issue of Wham comic from 1965.
Gosh.
There we go. I hand that over to you now, Ceremonious.
I better be careful with this one. Looks really good. And it says here, I'm looking at Britain's funniest comic.
There you go. That's a giveaway, isn't it?
I'll be the judge of that. There's only about 4 pages to this thing.
There's loads of pages there. They're very thin.
I'll look forward to reading it.
I hope you do.
Russell, thank you for this issue of Cracker.
Yeah,
much appreciated.
Yes, very much appreciated.
And so until next time, it's good night from me.
And it's hello from you.
Goodbye.
Bye.